I know confessing to murdering one's boyfriend on a popular site like Reddit isn't a smart thing to do, but to all the world my boyfriend is alive and well. But I promise you, it isn't him. I know because I killed him a week ago. Sam and I have been together since we were freshmen in high school. He was sweet, smart, and talented. His photographs were truly special, and even won many competitions. He got a full scholarship for baseball, multi-talented. We were able to get into the same school, and rented a tiny apartment just a few blocks from campus, and everything seemed perfect. Like a movie. But just last year things changed. Sam began going out with clients he was supposed to be photographing. They drank and stayed out all night. When I would confront him about it, he would assure me it was making a name for himself. He was just being friendly, and it would help to get more clients. This was a good thing. I just couldn't see that. And he wouldn't drink so much. Lies. He was getting better and better at that. It wasn't long before he was missing classes, and failing tests. He lost his scholarship after coming into class, the wrong class, hungover and punching the teacher when he was asked to leave. Of course his photos suffered too. They were blurry and off-center. Most looked like they came from a 1-hour photo lab. Sam started losing clients, then he sold his equipment, including a camera I had bought him that took 3 years to pay off. He didn't shower regularly, and spent every night glued to the couch, playing video games and cussing out 13-year-old kids through his headset. It was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. He refused to get a job, and didn't care about school any longer. He avoided any calls from his only family, his mother and sister. He slept all day too. I didn't want to kill him. It's not like I planned on it. I wanted to help him in all honesty. I wasn't in love anymore, but I grieved the man he was. The man I lost. One night I went to bed angry, again, and tried going to bed while he played his game. I was woken by a heavy feeling on my chest. I opened my eyes and saw Sam sitting on me, holding my arms against the bed. I was confused, angry. I demanded to know what he was doing. I could smell the booze on his breath. His eyes were bloodshot. He tried to kiss me, something we hadn't done in months. I jerked away from him and he snapped. He started screaming in my face, accusing me of cheating on him. I tried to get free, while telling him I had never cheated. He called me awful names. Told me I was the cause for losing his job and scholarship. I was so mad I snapped and told him everything I had thought of him. How lazy he was. How everything he lost was due to his behavior. That I was tired of taking care of him. And that he just lost me too. Just as the last word left my lips, I felt a searing pain in my cheek. I could taste blood in my mouth. When the fog cleared, I saw Sam staring down at me, a twisted smile on his face. He grabbed me by the throat and warned me never to talk to him like that ever again. I know what you're thinking. I tried to leave. I went to stay with a friend. But he called all hours of the night. He even called her landlord and reported her cat. It was ridiculous. I went back because I had nowhere else. My father wasn't well and Mom was taking care of him. She didn't need the extra worry of my problems. I didn't want to push my issues on anyone else. I could handle it, I thought. I tried to reason with him. I told him we were over. But I would stay and pay half the rent until we could afford to move on our own. He just laughed, and said, "You're not leaving me." He had laughed when he said it, but his eyes were cold and I knew he meant it. What happened to him? The night he died I came home from work and found him drinking cheap whiskey straight from the bottle. He was sitting on the couch in the pitch black living room. I could tell something was wrong. His face was sweaty, and his eyes narrowed on me, gritting his teeth so hard I thought his jaw would crack. I opened my mouth to ask him what was wrong, but before I could, the nearly empty whiskey bottle flew by me, shattering against the wall just inches beside my head. I won't go into all the ugly details now. They're not important. He flew into a rage and hitting me and choking me, all because the electricity was shut off. Hard to pay the bills when you're paying it all alone, and your boyfriend takes money for alcohol and video games. I thought he was going to kill me, and he might have. But in the process of being thrown around, my purse had emptied, its contents strewn along the carpet. The knife Sam had given me when we were in high school, for protection ironically, lay just within reach of me. He took a momentary break from choking me, tired himself out I assume, and I took my chance. Even now I don't know if I really thought about what I was going to do. It was just automatic. It was as if the knife appeared in my hand and the next thing I knew the blade was in his throat. Warm blood covered my hand and poured onto my chest. I still remember his face. The sheer surprise. He struggled to breathe, and toppled over, gasping and pawing at the knife. Our eyes locked, and there was pure hatred there. I passed out then. When I came to, he was gone. There was no knife, no Sam. All that remained of what happened was the broken bottle and a small red stain on the carpet. At first I was scared. Really scared. I didn't know what to do. I fought with going to the police and just staying quiet. I mean, what would I tell them? I killed my boyfriend, but I don't know where he is? A dead person can't just get up and walk away. It was 4 days before he came, the Sam that's not Sam. I was sitting on the couch, trying to study. The door opened and there he was. Just standing in the doorway, smiling. He was even wearing the same dark blue t-shirt, and jeans. The same thing he was wearing the night I plunged the knife in his throat. I tried to scream, but I was frozen with shock. He walked toward me, one hand behind his back. "These are for you," he said, holding a bouquet of roses. I just looked at him, my heart racing. "What's the matter?" he asked, looking genuinely worried. "Where were you?" I somehow managed to say. "I was at my mother's for a few days. I knew we have been having some problems since I got kicked out of school and lost my job. We haven't exactly been happy. So I thought I'd give you some space," he said, laying the roses on my lap. "You look pale. Have you been sick?" I nodded slowly, my head spinning. Had I imagined the whole thing? Did I not stab him as deeply as I thought? No. I felt the blade sink into his flesh. I saw the blade disappear into his throat, leaving only the handle exposed. "I love you. And I miss you. I promise things will be a lot different," he told me, wrapping me into a tight hug. Days passed, and Sam was just as sweet as can be. He no longer played with his video games, didn't drink, and even enrolled into a community college. He was taking pictures again too. It was as if the entire 7 months never took place. Certainly not the murder. He was romantic and tried to spend all his free time doing all the things we used to. But though I went along with it, part of me knew it was wrong. Even though friends, his mother, and sister didn't notice, I did. First there was his hair. The brown was a shade lighter than it was before, and the sides were a bit longer. That may not seem like it means anything, but how could hair grow that fast in a few days? That wasn't all. His eyes. They were a pretty green with brown and gold flakes. But now, they were brown with gold flakes. You may say that I was just confused, or that his eyes changed as some do. But there was a scar on his left index finger. He had gotten it when he was 16 and he was bit by his uncle's dog. He had to get 8 stitches. The scar was a bright white, just above his cuticle. And while the scar is still there, it's on his right hand. Just subtle differences, but differences nonetheless. And he was acting too perfect. He no longer cussed, or yelled, but he also stopped eating meat. He decided to go vegan. Something Sam would never do. Sam loved meat. He never mentioned what happened. Never mentioned the knife. You may think I lucked out. But what I know, this thing is not Sam. And if that's true, then why did he take over Sam's life? He goes places at night. I caught him one night when the neighbor's dog woke me up. I rolled over to see Sam was gone. I heard the dog barking like crazy, then it was cut off, a faint cry, then silence. I got up and pressed my head against the wall listening. I could hear what sounded like someone squishing grapes. It was a nauseating sound. A few minutes later I heard sounds of footsteps. Someone moving around in the neighbor's apartment. I listened for a long time but heard nothing else. Then my bedroom door opened, and Sam crept through, slightly out of breath. When he saw me, I could see his eyes go wide for just a second, then he smiled. "You're up. I hoped I didn't wake you when I left," he said, undressing into his boxers. "Where did you go?" I asked. I was nervous but did my best to hide it. "I went for a run. It feels great out tonight. Nice and crisp. I love autumn," he said, and flopped next to me. The neighbor's dog was barking. I said. He shrugged, "And they have had so many warnings from management. I'm surprised they haven't been evicted yet," he said. It was true. The neighbors, a middle-aged couple that were always rescuing animals to rehome, were always getting complaints from neighbors about the barking, and the smell that was clearly caused by dogs that weren't housebroken. But they seemed nice, and paid rent on time, so they stayed. "Did you see anything strange when you came back?" I asked, thinking of the noises I had heard through the wall. "Nope." "Why?" he asked, looking at me innocently. Just wondering. I thought I heard someone over there, after the dog stopped barking, I said. He chuckled. Probably our neighbors. Get some sleep. Hopefully their dog stays quiet. Then he put his arm over his eyes and went to sleep. I lay there wide awake, thinking of the wet and squishy noises. The sound of the dog's cry that went silent too fast. And of course, the fact that Sam never slept on his back. It was at his sister's party yesterday that my concerns went from strange to terrifying. Sam's sister Beth and her fiancé had a small party in their new house. Sam was energetic and outgoing and of course, didn't drink. Beth told me how happy she was that Sam was back to normal. I just faked a smile. How couldn't she see this thing wasn't the Sam? I thought she would notice when after dinner, Sam started juggling some oranges. Something Sam couldn't do. But no. They all clapped and laughed along. Later, Beth was talking about a trip to Disney World when they were kids. Remember the trip to Disney? Goofy? She asked, laughing. Sam pretended to think, then smiled that fake smile I've come to know, and said oh yeah, that was awesome. I got a high five. But you know, I'd love to go back someday. He tried to change the subject but I could see Beth frowning. She knew something wasn't right. Wait, you don't remember what happened? She said. Sam looked at her, and I swear I saw a flash of anger across his face. He quickly covered it with a grin. It was a long time ago, Beth, he said. You were so scared you puked. Right there on Goofy's shoes, she said. Oh, I totally forgot that. Yeah, you're right. Goofy was pissed. He ran off shaking his head. And he started laughing at a memory he couldn't place. Because it was not his memory. When we were about to leave, Beth pulled me aside. She looked worried. Sam's acting strange. Is he okay? She whispered. I almost blurted it all out right then, but instead I said I think so. Why? It's just the Disney thing, she said, biting her lip. Her fiancé Mark came up behind her, rubbing her shoulders. People forget things, Beth. You guys are kids. Mark said. It's not that he forgot. He never went to Disney. He got sick and had to stay home with my grandmother. He wanted me to get an autograph from Goofy, but I forgot so I forged it. I ended up telling him when I was mad one day and he was so upset. So that he would forget it, and even more so that he would pretend to remember something I made up. She said. Do you? She started but was cut off when Sam walked in. We said goodbye, and left, Beth watching from her front porch, that confused expression still on her face. When we got home, police were everywhere. They were standing guard at the entrance to the complex, and we had to show ID to get in. Our floor was swarming with cops, and yellow tape was blocking our neighbor's door. I asked one of the cops what happened but he told me to move along. I tried to get a look at the neighbor's apartment, but there were too many cops blocking my view. Funny thing is, Sam never even turned his head toward the neighbor's apartment. What happened over there? I said once inside our apartment. Probably got evicted. Finally. He said then to a shower. Last night I saw it on the news. The neighbors were missing, as was their dog. There was no more information but you usually don't hear it all on the news. I'm sure I would find out soon anyway. So here we are. Sam is out, running again. I'm alone in our apartment. Waiting for him to come back from wherever he's been. I don't care how crazy I seem, I know that isn't Sam. The blood stain on our carpet is still there, a reminder that no matter how bizarre it seems, it happened. Sam, my Sam, is gone. Whatever it is wearing his skin. It wants something, but what? If you like this story, smash the like button, and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to be notified on the latest videos, hit that notification bell.